All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. I also want to give double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and blessings and salutations to you Akim out there enduring this truth across the four corners of the earth, as well as the men and women that follow, and those who might look like the other nations, but are of the nation of Israel and their father's side by blood. And as you can see, in the picture, seen another car with something on the license plate, so figured I would do a lesson over it. And which is crazy, we just got out of the book of John. We read, we just finished up Acts this past weekend, and we read St. John before that. But for a very particular reason, this one stood out to me, right? And it says, this is John 15:12. It says, "This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you." And if you notice the love that Yahawashi showed to the disciples, all right, even the nation of Israel, but for, laying down, he said there's no greater love than lay your life down for a friend. Well, that's that's actually the next precept, because ultimately he did, sacrifice himself for all of Israel, but predominantly on this first go around for the elect of Israel, the one whom the Lord have chosen. All right. And this is why he was telling this to his disciples, because pretty much they was living after the traditions of men, how they saw fit for things, so the Lord was showing them the proper way to go about it. And that's what it was. He was coming in, as it says in Hebrews, as that better covenant, if I'm not mistaken what it said. I'm gonna double check. And I believe it said I believe it said a better covenant. Give me a second. A better hope and a better testament. That's what but that better hope, verse, this is Hebrews 7:19. "For the law made nothing perfect, but the bringing in of a better hope did, by the which we draw nigh unto the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahawashi." And that's what it was. That's the Lord brought grace. He brought life. He brought a way out from being under sin, and now we're striving to get those new bodies to be under that new covenant, to have that to have those to be perfect. All right, as the Lord was, as I said, we'll be made in his image. Okay. So this is John 15:12. Once again, it says, "This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you." Now, I'll read the second one. Verse 13, it says, "Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends." And that's the greatest love, as the Lord said, that you can give to one another. All right. And that comes also, even with sacrificing, bros might need you. You might not feel like doing something, but you got to get up and do it and get it done. It ain't every single time and every single, what I'm saying, but nonetheless, the Lord was shaping them to be pillars of the world, for lack of better words. Well, really, that's what it is, because through the love that he showed them, they showed unto the other disciples and unto the other believers. All right. And it was a better hope. It was a new way. It was just like us that are truly, all right, believing in this word, believing in Yahweh Shem Yahawashi. We can't just deal with one another however we want to deal with one another. And which is a beautiful thing, because I had a situation today where I said something, and that person got offended, and they immediately insulted me because they got offended. They didn't really want any understanding, even though I tried to explain it, they just didn't want to hear anything. But they immediately insulted me because they felt offended at what I said about them. And all it was truth. Even within that same conversation, something was said and they was like, well, just speak facts. And then I spoke a fact that they said within that very conversation, and they still went against it. But it goes to show you the difference within dealing with believers and non-believers. That's why it says, what does it say? Where it's at? It speaks about the dog and the hyena. This is Sirach 13. And I'm going to go to 16. I'm going to go to 15. It says, every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbor. Now, how it's supposed to be is if you are a true neighbor, you'll call somebody out when they're wrong, or you'll correct them when they're wrong. You know, if they about to do something, that's actually in the commandments, you know, to keep them back from doing wrong. Right. But in this day and age, hey, as they told me, it sound like you hating. Like, dang, you know, you think that I'm hating. But that's the difference, man. We're dealing with believers and unbelievers. We're true worshipers. I like that better, you know, true worshipers, because if you're truly trying to worship YAHAWASHI, that love will be reciprocated. If I'm messing up, you'll call me out. If you messing up, I should be able to call you out, you know, of course, within order. And and that's love. You know, that's love. Love is keeping the commandments. Holding each other accountable to getting to the next level, to getting to salvation. But the world don't understand that. In which that's another precept I want to get. Lord willing, I can remember that. But this is Ecclesiastes 13 and 15. Again, it says, every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbor. And that's why a lot of people don't like being around us, because it's like we ain't just speaking BS as we used to at a point in time. You know, we're not going after that rioting and drunkenness lifestyle that we once had or whatever. We've changed. So they come around us. We talking. Our conversations, you know, would really be about prophecy and getting the hell out of here, versus their conversation being about prosperity and trying to make a way and survive in this society. It says, verse 16, all flesh consorteth according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like. And that's what it is. People tend to hang around the type of people that they are. You know, they call them a party pooper. All right. It says, what fellowship hath the wolf with the lamb, and Salakia, what fellowship hath the wolf with the lamb, so the sinner with the godly. So as a wolf will hunt and harm and attack a lamb, so the sinner with the godly. They have no dealings among each other, unless the sinner plans on converting, you know, or they're trying. But if they plan on keep doing what they're doing, then, you know, that love being reciprocated, you can, you know, throw that out the window. Why? Because as the scriptures say, 1 second. This is John 15. Well, let me see, because I might just read down from where I was at. Man. Well, I'm going to read down to this, and then I'm going to jump back up. This is John 15 and 19. It says, if the world hates you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. If ye were of the world will love his own. But because ye are not of the world, because I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. And that's where we are at. You know, we stand at that point where the world is going to hate us, because through the spirit of YAHAWASHI, we are locked in to the prophecies. We're locked in to getting out of here. We don't have a 5, 10, 15, 20 year plan, you know. We're hastening the day. We're prophesying the downfall of this place. Of what they hold dear and what's sweet to them is bitter to us. So we will never be able to get along. Like, don't get me wrong. As the scriptures say, if at all possible, be at peace with all men. It's not like we just going around any and everywhere condemning people, and throwing Bibles at them. But no, we deal accordingly. But if we see that, you are a certain way, or you disrespect this truth or this word, hey, what as the wolf with the lamb, so a sinner with the godly, man. Okay. So jumping back up, this is John 15:13. It says, greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. All the people that claim to be friends of us that are in the world or whatever, would they lay their life down for you? It says, ye are my friends if ye do whatsoever I command you. And that's how you have a friendship with YAHAWASHI. But the world don't want to do that, so that love won't be reciprocated. All right. They, as the scriptures say, have I become your enemy because I tell you the truth? That's what divides us, man. Is the truth. Our people want to hear those smooth things. They want us to prophesy lies and prosperity, but we ain't got that, and we can't do that, man. All right. Now, false prophets can. That's their job. But other than that, true worshipers, we gotta preach and teach this gospel, man, 100%. It says, henceforth, verse 15, henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant knoweth not what his Lord doeth. But I have called you friends, for all things that I have heard of my Father I have made known unto you. And the Lord gave us the secrets and the mysteries through the Spirit of YAHAWASHI. He told us what's going to happen. What to look out for. The beginning of sorrows. All right. That's how we know through the Spirit that we're in the beginning of Jacob's trouble. That's how we know that they're about to be pushing this MOTB, that they're about to be locking down these cities, that America ain't got much time to be going, man, because it's the Spirit that revealed that, because we aren't servants. We are friends of the Lord. All right. It says, ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you. Right. So we are ordained by YAHAWASHI, not man. You got some people out there teaching that we had to be ordained by this person or that person. The Lord ordained us, man. All right. It says that ye should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain. Right. That's what the Lord wants to see. That's what we're here for. Okay. That whatsoever ye shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it you. All right. Now, of course, within reason. We can't, I'll put it like this to be plain and simple. You can't pray against the will of YAHAWASHI. Simple as that. You got sitting here praying that it's 5 more years, or can we get an extra year than the time that the Lord did? No. Like I said, true worshipers are what? Hasten to get out of here. It said, these things I command you, that ye love one another, and that's what it is. And I'm going to get that definition as well. I'm going to get that definition of love. It says, let's see.
Strong's G25, agapao. Agapao.
It says, persons to welcome, to entertain, to be fond of, to love dearly, to be well pleased, to be contented at or with a thing, right? Let's see the root. I'm sure the root might, it says what for phileo?
Strong's G5368, phileo. Phileo.
To love, to approve of, to like, sanction, to treat affectionately or kindly, to welcome, befriend, to show signs of love, to kiss, to be fond of doing, be wont, use, to do. right? And I believe these are the words that agape comes from, you know. And yeah, and sure, we just we have to understand this is already being set up, you know. The Lord already has set this up for it to be this way. All right. For he set at variance, you know, father against the father against the son, the daughter against the mother, and the in-laws, so on and so forth. All right. Everybody's not gonna get it, and everybody's not gonna understand. You know. As a matter of fact, I want to look that up. Look up love. Because agape is definitely one of them words. Oh, that's the Hebrew. Yep, agape. It says, it says affection, goodwill, love, benevolence, brotherly love, love of feast. It's also synonymous with the word charity. All right, charitable, feast of charity. So hosting brothers, you know, just treating them. Hey, treating man. Well, let me get that. That's also in John. See if I can remember. I think it's at the end of this chapter. It might be 35. Yep. Call all YAHAWASHI. Yeah, when you read this you can read this whole chapter. You know, this is John, St. John 13 and 34. It says, a new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another as I have loved you, that ye also love one another. And you got to keep in mind the situations. The Lord broke bread with them. He taught them things. He took time. He had his time. He got a little frustrated here and there, but that's because he needed them to get it and understand, man. He's like, man, I need y'all to get this because I'm not about to be here. You know, I'm not at, call all y'all about Shemal Shai. That's a lesson as well, you know, because we got to get this oil. We got to gather our oil right now because eventually it's going to be a famine of the word and you're going to have whatever you gathered and the experience that you had gathered, you know. And it's going to be you be out in the dang wilderness somewhere or something. You might not be around brothers. You might be in a concentration camp. You don't know. You just got to continuously trust in Yahweh Shem Shai. Verse 35, it says, by this shall all men know that ye are my disciples if ye love one another. So that's a distinguishing factor right there. You know, it's treating brothers how his brothers treating how they treating brothers how you want to be treated. That's really the precept I was looking for. I gotta find it because I want to end it with that one. What is it? I thought it was in here. Yeah, here we go. This is Matthew 22 and 40. Salakia. Matthew 22 and 36. It says, Master, which is the greatest commandment in the law? Yahawashi said unto him, thou shalt love the Lord thy power with all thy heart, and your heart is your mind. You know, constantly praying and to the Lord and serving the Lord and, you know, keeping his commandments. All right. Fear the Most High and keep his commandments. That's the whole duty of men. Right. And with all thy soul and with all thy mind. Yeah, constantly. Your mind should be constantly on the Lord in everything that you do. It says, this is the first and great commandment, and the second is like unto it, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. So there you have it. Pretty much serve Yahweh Shem Yahushai with everything you got, and then love one another as you want to be loved. You know, that kills everything. It kills all the BS, all of the assumptions, the crooked eyes, right? All of that gives no place for the devil, man. You know, you gonna squash things with Akim or brother that you have a problem with or whatever the case is, sister even, you know, and it just comes down to being apologetic and empathetic, man. And that's where the world lacks. They lack the love. They lack empathy and sympathy. Man, I seen this damn video and it pissed me off. There was a group of little nigglets, man, jumped on a kid and his mom. That's like, come on. That's what we come like. It was like 8 to 10 of them. And the mom, you could tell the mom, they probably been picking on a little kid. So the mom kind of walking the kid home, trying to get him away from the kid. Then they start picking on the dang mom. And these is like, the kids had to be anywhere from like, shit, you never know with these kids the way they be talking. I say anywhere from 10 to 13. You know, maybe some 9-year-olds in there. Maybe even some younger than that. Jumping on the little boy and his mom. This is the world we've come to, though. This is the world that they want to prolong. You know? This is the world that they want to prolong, man. So, call Lord YAHAWASHI, man, that we have this word and we have this understanding and we are able to understand, love, and keep the commandments to our best ability, you know, and that we have the Lord upon our hearts and our mind and our soul, you know, and that, you know, he's given us a chance to repent and to, you know, giving us a chance at salvation, and Lord willing, we can endure to the end, you know. So once again, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. I also want to give double honors unto the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, and blessing salutation to the Akim out there, as well as the men and women that follow. Shalom.